You made it. Welcome back, you BEA beautiful souls. SolidSol here, and today's video, it's gonna be another For Honor video. I'm not gonna lie to you, I think I have a problem. What's wrong, SolidSol? That's a great looking question, Timmy. I keep coming back to For Honor, and that proves I might have bipolar disorder. There's some of you who have willingly, not forcefully mind you, but willingly come back to the main menu simulator while even knowing what's in store for you. Bruh.
Four big guys.
Bruh. Ah! And of course there are those poor souls who don't even know what's going to happen.
Here I am again.
And that is amazing Battle Pass weapons. Probably the highlight of every season if they are worth gooning for. These ones, however, are worth it, just like my girl, Shama Mama, even though she would probably ruin my life. Now rejoice, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the rumors, and that's probably why you are here. Lawbringer has actually gotten some quite major changes that stops him from being the town punching bag. He now gets a light, heavy chain, and can chain after pretty much every single light. This man has been bullied ever since his defense nerf. It's a horrible and excruciating experience playing him with the meta being dodge everything and nothing is actually targeted towards you, so you can't parry it. There's also another meta that I found recently unbeknownst to me. Here, check this out. This is how you find an actual E-girl in For Honor. Wait, does nobody have B?
You capsules away.
What's going on here, dude? Dude, these guys have been GBing the entire game. They've been GBing. This can't be real right now, right? You know, I'm gonna let them do their own thing. I'm not gonna bother them. Obviously, they like each other. G's to you. Well played. This is their mating ritual. I'm not gonna interrupt that. I'm a sucker for love. Without dodge cancel recoveries or full blocks, you're basically cooked. With shove on block gone, hyper armor bash, the amazing recoveries on his bashes beforehand and after his zone attack, and removing one of his most unique impale punishes, he was simply dead inside all of that plate armor. If you've been living under a rock, ever since they introduced the Outlander faction, For Honor has gotten so much worse. Unless they add a Spartan character, which I am all For Honor will definitely be the game of all time. What's Ubisoft waiting for anyways? Lots of people already agree that we should delete the Heretic faction, though I for one would like to introduce a trade offer. We keep the Outlander faction, but we get White Magi in return. I've been playing a ton of Lawbringer the past 2 days, and I've got to say, he's threatening as heck now. Lawbringer main's got that feeling, I forgot what it feels like, to be actually useful in this game. Now you need to respect him, and you can't just stare at him anymore. The bash after literally every single move seems like a silly infinite, but you kinda need to have some staying power in this meta. Are things a little bit overtuned? Of course, but this seems more tame than giving him dodge cancel recoveries and allowing him to ice skate around the map. It's crazy though because you can do this after every single light. The animation looks pretty good in my opinion. You guys have to let me know what you guys think, but even the heavy into light that can chain into the unblockable, that looks pretty sick too. The scary thing is that if people try to dodge the bash and you throw that side heavy finisher instead, boom shakalaka, that's gonna be a crazy amount of damage, and it's really an insane mix-up if you aren't reacting to the bash, which is going to be insanely hard when you are subjected to the side heavy finisher because the animations are pretty hard to differentiate. You are even more obligated to just throw shit out as Lawbringer now with this mix. We also can't forget about his light chain. Finally, a hero that has a 3-hit chain has access to some actual fundamental mix-ups besides just using the old bash or unblockable trick. This reminds me, however, of old Valkyrie, where she did have a chain for him as top light, exactly like Lawbringer, but they removed it because they thought it was a little bit too spammy. Yet here we are in this meta where you dance around in teamfights spamming dodge attacks and externals. I'm not gonna lie to you though, I think the Lawbringer community is pretty happy right about now. They're probably gooning over these changes, and Ubisoft also plans to add a roll catcher for him too. So Lawbringer mains, get ready. Stay edging, kings, because you're about to get even more in the future. Lots of love for one of the most popular characters, and that's a good thing. Still waiting for that hate to carry nerf though. If you don't remember, I asked the community if you BEA Beautiful Souls actually buy the Battle Pass, and unsurprisingly, only 20% of you do. This is out of 11,000 people, mind you. Seems like players would rather fight against 4 Hitakiris than give 10 V-Bucks to the small indie company Ubisoft. Honestly, can't blame them considering what's inside these battle passes. People want to feel like their purchase is worth it, and if you are not a sucker for those amazing universal executions or new weapon skins, then you are shit out of luck. Honestly, I think they should add new armor sets, not armor variations, okay, but actual armor sets. Something that looks different from their other variations. Your enemies can barely see your weapons when you're light spamming them to death. Or if you are the things that nightmares are made of, Hitacutie, heavy spamming them won't make them complement your weapons. It'll only make them hate you more. The only thing that people want to see is how much thighs Valkyrie and Highlander are showing. Ubisoft gotta make more money somehow, since every single thing in this game is pretty much purchasable by in-game currency. You just have to grind the game a little bit and get those orders done. We honestly need to come together as a community and find a way to pay that one guy working on this game a livable wage. Dude is probably living on ramen noodles, slaving away at this game, and you wonder why people still say, this game is still alive? Even though my man is probably working his ass off. Props to him, honestly, he's probably still super passionate about this game, or you just can't escape Ubisoft's clutch, because I know we can't either. Our Stockholm Syndrome really be acting up. I'll tell you one thing though, if they ever add Shove and Block back in the Battle Pass, Orochi Heavy Deflect back, or perhaps even one loadout slot, okay? One more loadout slot, okay? Just literally just one more. Ubisoft would make all their money back lost on this game. We might even heal our PTSD because every morning I wake up yelling, ready to drink me to the great halls, and I'm pretty much just joking. I'm only half joking, actually. That line will live with me until I die. Another huge change that actually happened was Peacekeeper, our little organ stealer. The first time I heard she was going to be able to go into heavy attack after dodge attack, I had thought this was going to be game-changing for her. Sadly, I tried it out and it's only after not applying the bleed repose. So you have to get that, I think it's 7 or 8 damage raw heavy dodge attack without the bleed, and then you can go into a heavy finisher that's not unblockable. So what's really the point? But what I had found out is that your forward dodge heavy does count as a dodge attack, and you can go into your mix afterwards. Now, the reason why you use this move so much is to change the timings if people try to attempt to parry your left finisher heavy, or your left or right, or you can go into the soft feint dagger cancel. However, when you utilize the forward heavy soft feint cancel, this will change up the timing and allow you to go into your unblockable mix instead of choosing to opt in for the bleed riposte again, enabling you some more chain pressure that is much scarier, because this forward dodge heavy will mix you up if you're not paying attention to those unblockables, because she has plenty of tools to dish out when you are bleeding. This also allows her to get an insane max potential damage now, a much easier one to perform. All you do is 2 kidney stabs, a throw to the side, a forward dodge heavy into a finisher heavy. It's a crazy amount of damage, but of course they have to be OOS first. I think this is really cool, and it is a lot of damage though, I'm not gonna lie to you, but she is a pretty strong duelist and not the best 4v4, but incredibly high skill curve. If you manage to get up there, then she's insane. So does this new change help her? Well, anything is better than nothing, especially since they scrapped that neutral bash she got in the testing grounds. You guys remember that? Kind of low-key wish they kept that to her, even though it was a little bit slow, and it made her seem, I mean, it did make her seem a little bit more interesting since it inflicted bleed, and I thought that was really cool. Only one other hero deals bleed damage on their bash, and that's our girl War Mommy, and we love her. Did she need it? Definitely not, as she is a skill-based hero that requires more effort to perform at an optimal level, or even a minimal level, whereas most of the Outlanders can just play one-handed while they goon to their KD, downplaying their character. Peacekeeper has a specific role that you have to play correctly, otherwise you're just going to be a horrible experience and a detriment to your team. When you learn how to play her correctly, and you actually learn how to play her like a ninja, I think she is one of the more rewarding characters to play, exactly like Nusha. It's kind of crazy though, I have been playing Nusha quite a bit in the late night hours of my day, about 2 a.m., and sometimes I just can't stop myself. I feel like I have an addictive personality and I might need to get myself checked. However, I decided to play Nusha for a little bit and I really had a good time playing her. And that session was about 3 hours, God help me. Looks like secretly I might be a Nusha main. Maybe it was because I wasn't fighting the most optimal stacks of all time, but when I'm solo queuing, just fighting other solo queue players, she honestly is a little bit fun. And I know that's crazy, and it's gonna be crazy to hear from me, but that's just how I feel at this moment in time. Will my feelings change due to my bipolar disorder? I probably assume so. Still, that doesn't mean that she won't be getting tweaks in the future. I know you Nusha mains have been wanting something for her in the future, maybe some dodge cancel recoveries after the whiff trap, just anything whatsoever, but I know for sure that any character or any person that plays a specific niche character, they are amazingly exceptional at them or just really love them. They don't want them to turn into another 50-50 spam character that is very generic and standardized like the rest of the cast. I think they want her to be still fairly mediocre but have a very high skill curve. That's what most people want, and I've talked to many of them. They don't want everyone bandwagoning to her. I think that's a fair assessment to the 3 Nusha mains out there. You guys probably feel the same way. Let me know if you guys do. We don't want all of the same characters to be the same anymore, okay? We want something unique, something different with personality. Now, going back at my points, it doesn't mean that Peacekeeper isn't strong when you find her in a dark alley. You probably wish you were in America because she's basically female Jack the Ripper. This goes for Nusha as well because she does a crap ton of damage with Deadly Duet, and of course the traps are going to be unreactable with those chain form as light attacks. You're gonna panic, because I always panic as soon as I start bleeding or I get chipped down and eaten by those traps. There's a lot of pseudo mix-ups with those characters and you have to respect them in 1v1s. It's as if I forgot everything I know about For Honor when I'm bleeding, I kid you not. But God, wouldn't that be amazing? If I never knew about For Honor, happier days, I say, happier days. Still, life goes on. And I still curse my friend who got me into this, and that person doesn't even play For Honor anymore. Secretly, I think he just hates me and wanted me to play the worst game ever known to man. The last important thing that I really want to talk about and that I've been playing a lot of is my boy Centurion. Now this guy is an absolute Giga Chad. He just got his charge punch decreased. Well, actually it got buffed significantly. It's only 900 MS now. It used to be 1000 MS. So this is huge because it gives him a new parry punish. And since I've been playing so much Warhammer Space Marines 2, if you guys haven't checked that out, I did make a video on it, but I've been playing that, I've been streaming that, I've been playing with you guys, a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much, a lot of cool build diversity and all that good stuff, just smacking the Tyranids and chopping them in half. But I wanted to make a Centurion Space Marine, and I'm really stoked, and I can try to get as close as possible. I spend so much steel, you guys can see it in the background, that I am absolutely in love with it, and I spent so much money on it, unfortunately, but it's just one of my favorite things to do, and you guys can check it out right here. In my opinion, I think he's an actual S tier now in duels and in 4v4 because his gank potential is so strong. You guys know he's not the best team fighter, but he still holds his own very well, and with this increased jab, you will absolutely decimate people in ganks, and it's really hard to interrupt the Centurion now, so he can just pretty much be fairly oppressive when it comes to 1v1s, especially if you have very good reads and reactions. It's incredibly satisfying to play this character now. Oh my god, finally! Oh my goodness, the pain is over. The pain is finally over. It is complete. Alright, boys, this is the best I can get right now. I think that's pretty much it. I'd love to have 2 wings on my back, or at least be able to put the bird up a little bit higher so that we can have our wings spread out and maybe perhaps have a skull in the middle. That's why For Honor customization is just so lackluster. There's just nothing you can do with this. I would love to move maybe my bird wing up on the top left. I would love to move this eagle a little bit higher, but there's just nothing I can do, man. Like, even the skull here, I would love the skull to be right in the middle of my chest there, because that's where it usually goes, and then you have your wings out on the side of it. But For Honor is just so limited in that regard. You can't do anything special to differentiate yourself from like another Centurion. Sure, my Centurion looks a little bit different from another one, but we pretty much look the same as long as we have the purple or the blue color, and that's just pretty sad. I wish Ubisoft would actually focus more so on letting us customize our character more in depth, in my opinion. I think that'd be so much better for the health of the game and make it so that players have a lot more customizability and make their characters look amazing. Alright, so for the head, obviously we're going to use the Hippo Crane. Looks like we have an actual helmet, or Space Marine helmet, and this is going to be the new chest piece. The Studium chest. This also is going to be the new arm piece. I think it looks amazing in my opinion. Amazing engravings, insane detail, design, and it's this, the arm part is a little bit too flashy for me personally. I would have liked just a simple color, but it's fine, it works well for me. We wouldn't Widow's Cry because it looks pretty much like a chainsword. or a chainsaw eviscerator. That'd be kind of insane, in my opinion. A Widow's Cry hilt, and of course the Yash Guard. Doesn't really matter too much about these, but I think the sharper and more edgier the blade, the better, because the chainsword is a pretty freaking insane weapon. And that's pretty much the chest pieces that I have. The material is going to be cobalt, so it's going to set you back 10,000, but I'd say it's totally worth it. I didn't put an ornament on. I was going to use like a maybe Proud Griffin, so that there would be like a red piece up here, because usually on the helmet there's like a red piece if you are like a team lead, but there's not, so I don't really need it. You could run if you wanted to, but that's pretty simple, and I went with the Fallen Protector. Unfortunately, you do have to get the Heresy Relics Event Pass, so you're not going to have this color variation if you wanted to run the wings here. And the wings do look pretty nice. I wish there was a different two versions of the wings, but it's just a left wing or a right wing, but I'd say this looks good enough, and I feel like that's the closest to what we're gonna get. Can't really put a skull emblem right here and then put wings on the side, so that's all we're gonna get, baby. I must face these nightmarish times with the certainty of steel, because my boy Warden will be getting another massive overhaul. Not his new animations or his lights and heavies, which look amazing and top tier, God bless them for actually doing that, but will actually have some sort of build variety on his feats. We've always complained about his feats being absolutely dog shit. They aren't actually horrible, but they are pretty boring in my opinion. The question is, why only Warden? That's a great looking question, Timmy. Well, because he's the main character for Honor, or basically the new lead developer is a Warden main. That's just assuming things. I'm not actually factual, and I don't know have any information to back this up. Being able to clear minion lane and actually getting health back with his new tier 1, rezzing teammates with full HP for his tier 3, and getting a stronger catapult as his tier 4, I'm all for it. It's a damn good time to be a Nightman, I'll tell you what. The only thing they have to work on next is my boy Conqueror, and I'm sure they have plans for him too in the near future. Maybe when I'm a old box yelling at the sky, I can finally try out his new rework in 2040. Keep in mind, this is still going to be in the testing grounds. It's not going to come alive, so they are working on it. It's going to be work in progress, so we don't know if it's actually going to stay, but I'm pretty sure these feats are going to be adjusted as so. Nothing really seems too powerful, maybe except for his tier 3 that can res all the way to full HP, but you still have to res pretty quickly, and I don't know if it's going to be super duper overtuned. But having a character or one of your teammates come back into a fight right away is actually huge. Let me know what you think of the feats that Warden is getting. If there's any other cooler feats that you have ideas for, please let me know in the comment section. Maybe Ubisoft will see, and the lead developer might be a fan of the box, and he'll be like, oh, that's a damn good idea. Let me just take that for myself real quick. You know what we've all been asking for? More maps. Well, they certainly delivered, because Viking Village, which is an elimination / tribute map, has finally been repurposed, just like the Cathedral map. Those two maps are absolutely beautiful in design, and I can't get enough of actually playing on new maps. Personally, I would rather we just get more maps than more broken characters, on least except for Sohei. He's only broken in the aspect of high damage values, but absolutely shit in pretty much every single other aspect. So sad, Ubisoft. So sad. As soon as they try something new, it just goes horribly for them, because they have no idea what they're doing at all. Anyways, this map is fantastic. I love it. The design, I think they did it perfectly. The minion lane is a little bit small, but it's not that big of a deal, because the other 2 points on the map are awesome anyways. There's not like super amounts of cheese everywhere. There's tons of wall slap potential though. So like, this map is amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite maps out there to play right now, simply because it's a new map and it's not the most egregious map to play with a bunch of cheese everywhere. It does feel like another Cathedral map, which is more team fighty. It's not like a Temple Garden, a Sentinel, or even a High Fort map where there's a lot of places to go around and you have to traverse the map to get to the point, and it takes a little bit longer. And those maps are definitely fun. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I definitely want to see the Samurai Night Village. I think that's just a beautiful map, man. I'm honestly having a great time every time I play customs in that game mode. Hope to see that one soon. Let me know what you guys want to see. Here's the thing, guys. The truth of the matter is, I think one of the main reasons that people don't know why they're actually back is that raid bosses are back, baby. They are back. They buffed Tough as Nails. If you guys didn't know what this feat does, it's a tier 3 and it increases your health by 15% now. It used to be only 10%, but they decided to increase it to 15%. I don't know why they did. I don't know what is going on in their worm for brain minds when it comes to Ubisoft, but my god, is it amazing getting so much HP. I can guarantee you, you're gonna have so much HP that people are gonna be so scared of you, they're just gonna run away from you. I can promise you that much. It is so sick having a huge health bar. Is it a little bit overtuned? I mean, you've got about 177 HP if my calculations are correct. Probably, maybe so, but you know, I think Last Stand, Bastion, Vegetable Berry it's still the best go-to feat or perk setup in my opinion. If you're running Toughest Nails, you're losing out on quite a few good feats that could help your teammates. This is more of like a solo build or a stall anchor build, which is still amazing, mind you. Honestly, I love this. I'd rather have this than Last Stand, because Last Stand is a little bit annoying. Actually, just remove Bastion and Last Stand. Vegetable Berry is alright, but having Bulk Up with Toughest Nails is such a cool build, in my opinion. Warlord, Jang Jun, and I think those are the only two so far. I think there's one more character that has Bulk Up with Toughest Nails, but I think it's just such a fun build, and having more build variety is fantastic, and I love that aspect of For Honor when it actually works, because not many characters actually do have a very diverse pool of feats to use. For Honor RPG, when Ubisoft or MMO, I'd be down for that. Now listen, I love my purple Viking Warlord. It's simple, it's clean, he's got leather, a few gold pieces here and there, and the sword is fantastic. I absolutely adore it. And my shield is simple, but it still does the job. I love this set. It's one of my favorite go-tos. This is my other one. It's a pretty fairly white Warlord, and as you can see here, pretty simple and clean as well. The sword is simple, the shield is simple. I don't like a huge shield because it blocks my view of the opponents. Warlord's such a thick, beefy man with a huge cake that a bigger shield is just gonna obstruct your view of the enemy. You can't see anything, and I hate that aspect about him. But with this new skin, Warlord is even thicker than last time. I kid you not, he's huge. Now, I'm gonna go over the good things, and I'll talk about the bad stuff afterwards, but the good thing is that, well, we have Gutmangundr from the story mode. Everyone knows that. It's pretty self-explanatory. He got basically ripped off from the story and then put onto the character selection. Well, it's actually not the character selection, it's just a skin. He gets a new pelt here. It's a wolf pelt, and it pretty much covers his entire back and chest. Really cool in my opinion. Then he has the wings. We'll just go over the material real quick. So the material just changes pretty much the cloth part of his armor sets. He has some of the braids right here that he uses, but that's essentially all that is when it comes to the material. And I went with Torchlight because I feel like Torchlight looks pretty good overall. You can go with black, red, or any other color, but any of these other brighter ones, you're just gonna look like a clown anyways, so I would not do that. The color right here with the color pattern is gonna change the wolf's pelt and its eyes. As you can see, it changes the eyes. I'll go for like a blue one right here, and it goes like it changes into a different hue. So this yellow one definitely stands out. The blue stands out. Very bright colors will make it look a little bit more better, but you're not gonna be able to change too much. It doesn't really matter because people aren't gonna be paying attention to that. The shield and the sword are gonna stay relatively the same. And the funniest thing too is that when you take a look at Valkyrie, okay, corporate wants you to find the difference between this, and they want you to find the difference between this. Pretty much the same, right? And this one as well, right? That's the same thing. It's the same thing. Oh my gosh, the new skin is basically just Valkyrie but thicker, and that's better, right boys? And that's a good thing. That is better. So the greatest thing about this skin is that you would get the character from the story mode, but the bad thing is that most of the characters that did get, they're from the story, like Tozin and Apollyon, they're pretty much their own character. Unfortunately, Gutmangundr, he is basically just a skin. And he could have gotten like a really cool bash moveset. Obviously, they could have just given that to Warlord for a rework, so maybe in the future, Warlord might get something like that. This is a Viking season, so hopefully he does, and they give him some adjustments because he does need some tweaks to his kit to make him a little bit better to deal with some of the top tiers. Against the top tiers, he definitely does struggle if you don't play perfectly, but with the skin itself, it does seem a bit bland in my opinion. The only cool factor is that you play as Gutmangundr, you get a cool wolf helmet, and that looks pretty sick, but everything else about the shield is pretty meh in general. I feel like we've gotten way better battle pass shields in my opinion. The sword is also pretty mediocre. There's nothing really interesting here besides this thing. Maybe if the sword was like enveloped in fire or something. And that's pretty much the end of the video. I've showcased pretty much all the important factors of why some people are coming back to For Honor. And if you're new or coming back, these are some of the major changes that I think will keep you staying and playing For Honor just for a little bit until you lose your mind. Let me know what changes you guys really like and brought you back to For Honor. I'm assuming Lawbringer is such a big change and there's more changes coming to him, so stay tuned for that. I will be making more Space Marine 2 videos in the future, so keep your eyes open. That'll be all for the box. Bye-bye. See you later.